Hello, beautiful people. It's Cinderella. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're back again with another video. This is from Pierce Morgan Uncensored. Title: Somebody wants me to do this. Oh, somebody didn't want me to do this. Diddy bombshell revelations. Big homie CC. We're gonna check this together amid the Diddy trial. Interesting information keeps popping up by the day, minute, which we're just gonna check. We know whether they are relevant to this case or not. Is still important we check them. So we're going to check it together, and I'll love your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below. Let's dive right in.
The opening days of Diddy's trial in Manhattan have been gripping, lurid, shocking, and revelatory. It's everything we should have expected from a federal case against a mogul and megastar who stands accused of sex trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy. My next guest has been watching these week's proceedings with a particular and personal interest. Big homie CC is a celebrity bodyguard and security entrepreneur, and he joins me now. Big homie, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Hello, Pierce. How are you today?
Yeah, good, thank you. We're 2 days into this case against Diddy. What is your gut feeling about what's going to happen here?
Well, my gut feeling on what's going to take place is, well, we're going to see a lot of strange things take place due to the fact that I know how this world works. After working in the industry, I converted my business to combat human trafficking. Last year, my team brought home 17 people, 4 children, 1 boy. And whenever these trials come about, the closer you get to the trial date, a lot of things start happening to remove people from the case that are going to strengthen the case for the prosecution. And I feel like we're watching that take place now with one of the male sex worker guys who provided tapes to the feds. He's disappeared. And this is similar to what happened in the Tory Lanez case, where the bodyguard whose DNA was on the weapon, he disappeared. So I expect to see a lot of strange things take place. I expect to see the defense team do a lot of steps to lighten the image of Combs. And we've been watching that take place.
From what you know about him, Sean Combs, obviously the perception of him has changed dramatically since these allegations were made and since he got charged. I mean, from everything we're seeing now, he seems a very unpleasant, nasty, violent piece of work. Is that a correct assessment?
The assessment is going to be correct. So what I've learned is whenever you see a gentleman like this from affluence and power, whenever they have an addiction to MDMA or the drug ecstasy, they call it the love drug. So he's been doing this drug for over 20 years. So that's going to lead his view skewed when it comes to sexual activity. I believe it's helped turn him into a sexual deviant. And, you know, what type of man wants to see another man urinate in his wife's mouth? I feel like it's evil. I think his behavior is egregious. And, you know, I have a history of using very heinous acts on people like this who participate in this type of lascivious acts.
As we're talking, Cassie Ventura, who was his longtime girlfriend, is one of the 2 people who the feds have brought this case with. She says that Combs would bash on my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me. Asked how often, she replied, too frequently. She says she didn't want to participate in the freak-offs, as he called them, but she did so because she loved him very much and wanted to make him happy. She told the jury she was scared of what he would do if she said no. Physical violence from Combs, she said, was always on the back of her mind. He wanted to control every aspect of her life, from how she looked to her work. And when he couldn't reach her immediately, he and his employees would call her incessantly or come and find her in person. So she's building a picture of a violent control freak. Is that a picture that you recognize of what you know about this?
Right. So definitely, these are traits that I recognize in the field that I work in. Whenever we get a call for a retrieval and a family is concerned about a loved one, those same characteristics that this woman listed is the same things that streetwalkers will list about their boyfriend, which is actually their pimp and panderer. That's why I have an affinity for people who are survivors of this type of nonsense and oppression. And this sounds familiar. You know, along this path, I've been poisoned 3 times. My toxicology report showed cyanide, and you know, cyanide metabolizes into pneumonia in your body. So I've had pneumonia on 3 occasions. You know, and these problems.
Wow. Okay. You see, this is also leading to some quite interesting things, because, you know, when lots of celebrities or lots of people in the industry, when they pass, they all pass with one type of common sicknesses, right? Pneumonia, some cancer, some no name, some drugs, and whatever. But again, you know, with these musicians, celebrities' behavior, especially in their music, their You see some of them trying to embody the lifestyle and make it look cool. Drugs is no big deal for them, lots of them. And being violent is no big deal for lots of them. I just think that, if we're being honest, the entire Hollywood industry needs thorough cleansing. What do you think? But again, it's giving toxic, violent, possessive relationship, controlling relationship. That is what is giving. Controlling human, demonic behavior. That is what is giving.
Didn't start for me until I cyanide. And, cyanide metabolizes into pneumonia in your body. So I've had pneumonia on 3 occasions. And these problems didn't start for me until I started to speak out about people like this. It's been a hard time to line up this interview because the last time I was scheduled to be in this interview, randomly, our car gets hit from the side by a blacked out vehicle. No license plate. That's happened 3 times this month so far.
Really?
Somebody didn't
Wow.
want me to do this interview. Yeah, somebody didn't want me to do this interview. I'm somebody where I've had FBI come to my house before and tell me they found a threat against my life. So, I'm well versed in this world. But, I got round the clock security. One of them was sitting right here with me right now. This is a dangerous game people are playing. And, it's a good feeling for me to see the justice system prevail. And some people deserve retribution.
You clearly feel that Sean Combs, over the years, has made people disappear.
Right. Well, Pierce, let me ask you a question. From your journalistic perspective, have you ever noticed how in this industry, people untimely meet their demise as soon as somebody else seems like they're having a problem? Have you ever seen that before?
Well, there was, of course, the case of one of his other ex-girlfriends, Kim Porter, who died of pneumonia at a very young age. You just referenced your own situation with pneumonia that you believe was deliberate poisoning. Do you believe that may be what happened to her?
Why are so many people coming down with pneumonia? Why is that happening to everybody?
Yeah.
What is that about? Where have you ever seen this many cases of pneumonia associated with one situation? So,
There were rumors.
I'm not saying.
Well, I was going to mention on this that there have been rumors circulating online that Diddy may have poisoned Jamie Foxx, which caused his 2023 hospitalization. In his Netflix show, he compared Combs to the devil in revealing his near-death experience after a brain bleed and stroke. He said, I say this all the time. I saw the tunnel. I didn't see the light. It was hot in that tunnel. I thought, shit, have I gone to the wrong place? I looked up the end of the tunnel and I thought I saw the devil saying, come on. Or was that Puffy? I'm effing around. But if that was Puffy, he had a flaming bottle of Johnson. And no, I'm just kidding. I think that you have taken that to be a not too oblique reference to the fact that he suggested he may too have been poisoned.
Jamie Foxx said out of his mouth that his partner handed him an Advil, and after he took that Advil, he woke up 22 days later. That's what he said out of his mouth. I feel like us as a species, I feel like human skepticism has become a virus, because if we don't trust the words of our peers, where are we as a species? Eyewitness testimony and circumstantial evidence is enough to get a person a life sentence in any court on the earth. Why is it that when people are whistleblowing and putting their life and livelihood on the line, they receive so much scrutiny? I don't think that's by chance.
I mean, why would...
That's true. That's true. And of course, because all of a sudden, this Diddy's case, victim 3 is nowhere to be found. Of course, people are definitely, or witnesses, people that are bound to have quite interesting information would disappear. Not just disappear in that light. They change their mind, have a change of heart, not speak or whatsoever. And what is being alleged of Diddy is not a child's play. And obviously, we talk about the entertainment industry per se, it needs total cleansing, because there are some people that we don't know, maybe working cops, because they know too much. And with people who are powerful, or there are some people who don't like people who know too much. Watch some movies. It is
Diddy want to poison Jamie Foxx?
If you know that
okay.
Suggested he may too have been poisoned.
Jamie Foxx said out of his mouth that his partner. By chance.
I mean, why would Diddy want to poison Jamie Foxx?
If you know that you have, well, just to give some insight to people watching, when you come under federal investigation, they send you a target letter. You know, you get informed that you're being investigated. So if you wanted to tie up loose ends and you were concerned that people that you knew could incriminate you, you may have interest in eliminating them. We've seen this all throughout history.
I mean, this sounds kind of mafioso stuff, but I sense that you're talking from a lot of experience here, that you genuinely believe this is a highly dangerous situation involving a highly dangerous man with very dangerous people acting on his behalf, potentially.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely speaking from experience. This is definitely a highly dangerous situation because this guy was the middleman. He was the party guy. He was the person who lined up the parties and festivities for a lot of guys a lot more wealthy and affluent than him. So, you know, I'm a person who believes that the Epstein's list is very similar to Diddy's list. I'm a believer in that. And, you know, whenever it comes to protecting women and children, I'm going to be fierce. Big ups to my sponsor, Stallion Gear, for putting up funds to help us go out and help people. You know, I want to salute Michael Franzese because he's probably the only famous person who donated to our campaign for protecting women and children, going down to the orphanages and passing out toys and gifts. Because at the end of the day, us as men, we must learn to police ourselves in our own community, because if not, these type of activities will continue to run rampant. I know this situation is dangerous. I've had several attempts on my life throughout my career. And, you know, where there's one dangerous guy, there's a group.
You referenced earlier, I have a history of heinous acts against people who behave like that. What did you mean by that?
Well, there's a lawsuit that I'm listed in where allegedly I quipped Combs about his sexual deviant activity, and I protected the plaintiff and pointed a firearm at Mr. Combs. That's what the paperwork says. They don't have their facts right, but, you know, I have a reputation for, you know, maintaining a proper balance.
What was he doing, Combs, at the time?
Yeah, so that's all alleged. So, you know, they don't really got they don't have the facts correct with that situation. There's some sort of conspiracy going on because the same law firm that has brought this case, they tried to file this same case last year. They finally got it amended this year. And this same law firm was trying to pay me $5 grand to come talk on an interview. I turned it down, and then they filed this paperwork. You know, I firmly believe that this lawsuit was filed by people off his side to try to discredit me, other witnesses, and to try to get this current case that he's on thrown out. That's how deep this goes, because the law firm who brought this asinine case, nobody can seem to track them down. How can they have this case amended? Who has the finances to file this type of lawsuit? You know, I got to pay Ed Zappia 15 grand to represent me in a case like this while this trial is going on. Something weird is happening.
But just to be clear, was there an incident where you witnessed somebody who was being abused or about to be abused or had been abused by Diddy, by Sean Combs, and you intervened and warned him to stop?
Definitely.
And what can you tell me about that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, it's an open case. So, like, I can't really expound too much on that. But I've had several calls about this guy. You know, I've had several calls about his son. You know, people reaching under ladies' dresses, fondling them without asking for permission. You know, where did he learn this behavior from? Where would he learn that from? You know, legendary Dapper Dan said he grew up, he knew Combs' parents. And he said what's going on with Combs didn't start with him. It started with his family. The same things I see when I'm battling trafficking cases. The most common enablers of this activity are close relatives, families, and friends.
Yeah.
Of course, he learnt it from somewhere. And also, even in the entertainment industry, there are people who allegedly would enable this type of behavior because they profit from it. So, obviously, still brings us back to the point. Hollywood itself needs cleansing. That's just the truth. Because some things going on there. You think those things you see in the movie is just entertainment? It is no longer entertaining anymore. It is now like, okay, yeah, thin line between the truth, agenda, and entertainment or fun.
The lots of rumors, as you know, swirling about Diddy and have been accelerated by what's happened to him. One of them is that he had something to do with Tupac Shakur's murder. Do you believe that?
Well, when it comes to situations like that, you got to look at the list of facts. There's a guy by Dwayne Keith Davis who's currently in a Las Vegas detention center. And, he swears up and down that Combs promised him a payment to unalive the rapper. And the rapper became unalived. And, FBI say Eric Von Zip intercepted the payment and kept it for himself. Like this, the paper trail wouldn't exist. If there's smoke, there's fire, Pierce.
Other people say that Diddy was a Fed himself, that he was on their payroll. Do you think that's a possibility?
Well, that's definitely a possibility, but oftentimes in my culture, being an African-American male, sometimes we can believe that we're bigger than the program. And the moment he decided to sue the liquor company Diageo, that's when all of the onset of these problems started. When you offend a list of board of directors and all of them are richer than you can get the short end of the stick. And that's what we're watching happen here.
We've all heard a lot about these freak-offs. Most people I've talked to say, well, there were layers of parties that Diddy would throw. There was the public one with all the glamour and all the celebrities and stuff, and then there'd be various layers ending up in the freak-off area, and that would go on sometimes for days and was extremely depraved, involved a lot of drugs, a lot of very kinky, depraved sex and so on. What can you tell me about the freak-offs? For those who don't know anything about this world, what was it about the freak-offs that is so fascinating to people, do you think?
What people have to understand is swinger parties exist.
Yes.
And that's exactly the lifestyle that this gentleman lives. He's a swinger. And swingers hang with other swingers. That's what it is. Like the term freak off has become sensationalized by media, but what the true nature and name for this event is going to be called a swinger party, Pierce. And that's what takes place. You people, partners sharing their partner, indulging in sexual acts. As long as things are consensual, what people do is their business. But if I'm getting a call because somebody's applying oppression on other people, that's when things become a problem. And, I had sent in a video of the guy, Combs, walking around collecting everyone's cell phone before they get onto a yacht to go party. Why do you have to collect everyone's cell phone before you go into a party? He's collecting the phones himself. That's what I meant by there's layers to the party. The first part of the event is going to be a normal socializing mixer. But, when the guy comes out collecting phones, that's when things are about to that's when somebody's cake's getting touched. That's how it goes. It's a zest apocalypse right now, man. We got to do something about this.
Is there any doubt that he was bisexual? Diddy? That seems to be clear from a lot of the evidence that's come out.
Yeah. All of these guys are when it comes to that. Like, I've very rarely seen any straight dudes, in this industry, man. That's why I pivoted my business. Like, it's like, I don't want to be the only straight man at the party. So, I got to change it up. All of these dudes are, man. But all of them are.
Now you know. Because obviously you wonder why all of a sudden all of these aggregatings are being, or the gebutings are just being pushed to our faces in Hollywood, and people thought it was just entertainment. No, it wasn't, or it's not. And talk about this swinger parties or whatever. There was a particular video I saw. I can't even remember where I saw that video, but it was somebody who was straight out explaining and talking about this. And in that video, Diddy's name wasn't mentioned. That is how I came to realize that it wasn't just Diddy doing all of this or whatever. This is a normal behavior, normal lifestyle in Hollywood. Just that some of them have not been caught whatsoever. And some, like in the video, you hear some details, you're like, huh? You guys are weird. And it still brings us back to Hollywood again. It needs cleansing. Thorough cleansing. That is what it needs.
And the freak offs,
all bisexual weirdos.
Right, you're painting a picture of these freak offs as being consensual largely, although the issue of the phones is obviously significant and will be tested, I'm sure, in court. But you're also suggesting that it was everyone sort of sharing partners. But isn't the key part of the Diddy case predicated on the fact that he may have been trafficking, in other words, bringing in a lot of sex workers to take part in these as well? And that he, for example, with Cassie Ventura, was, they were having, male sex workers, female sex workers, and so on. In other words, it may have been consensual, but it also involved people who were not, with each other, but actual sex workers joining in.
Yeah. So, Whenever you see the little guys, the white dudes come in with the spiky hair, looking like vampires, yeah, you know, the sex workers is arriving. And at the end of the day, um, is it consensual if you're promising people a career path and a lifestyle and glitz and glamour, and you're saying, look, we're all doing it. Come join us. You party with us, then I can get you a record deal. I can get you this. That's what's going on to certain people. You know,
Yeah.
everybody isn't being financially compensated, and that's where lies the problem.
Big Homie, you've referenced the fact that several times we tried to do this interview and stuff happened to you that was very concerning. Car with blacked out windows and so on, engaging with your vehicle and so on. Now that you've given this interview and you've gone public again, and made it very clear what you think of Sean Diddy Combs, do you fear about reprisals?
No, I don't fear anything like that. I'm very, very good at what I do, and I'm trained in everything dangerous. I knew what I signed up for. I'm very well aware of the risk. You know, I'm gonna go back into hiding after this, of course, but at the same time, me as a man, you know, I'm here to fulfill my duty. God sent me to do a job, and I intend to get that job accomplished.
Do you think Diddy would want you dead?
Probably be in his best interest if I was.
Wow.
Good luck with that, though. I've been proven to be hard to kill, though. Shout out Turn Up guys. Shout out to the guys.
Just finally, Big Homie, there's a lot of speculation about what he may have kept on tape. And I think you've talked about the fact a lot of these guys like to keep trophies, memorabilia, you know, sort of
Absolutely.
souvenirs of their depravity, if you like. Just tell me about that briefly. I mean, was that part of the modus operandi for the freak offs and everything?
Yeah, so what I'll say is, throughout my career path, we may end up with a pedophile's phone. And in that phone, you'll see a list of trophies. And when it was announced that he had CCTV film cameras in the house, and when the Homeland Security did the initial raid, they didn't inform the raiding officers whose home they were raiding because they had information that he might have been protected. And, you know, part of Epstein's thing was to get people in precarious situations, and then you have this footage that you can use against them to be able to have your way with champions of industry and able to control policy. He does the same thing. So, you know, if you want to be able to seal a big deal and there's a guy you know likes to party, it's easy to set that up. You know, you send a guy a screenshot like, yeah, man, you had such a good time with those two underage girls yesterday, man. You remember this video right here? That person is going to have some incentive to help you out in what you need them to do.
Yeah.
It's the same. We've seen this over and over.
What do you think is going to happen to him? And what do you want to happen to him?
I actually think he may get off. I think he might get off. I've seen stranger things take place. They offered him a plea deal of 15 years. He turned it down. That's that. At first they were saying life. Then it went to 15 years. I wouldn't be shocked if he got off.
And what would you like to happen to him?
What I'd like to happen to him, you know, I'm not going to say on air. I'll say it to you off camera, but I'll say this. I wish the worst, and I have extreme disdain for any man who wants to traffic another person, because that is just slavery all over again.
Yeah.
And I don't believe any one person should have dominion over another human being.
Sure.
Big Homie CC, thank you very much indeed for doing the interview on Uncensored. I appreciate it.
And this, somebody also commented some time ago, that what if Diddy gets off? Like, what if he works free? And ever since then, I've been questioning myself too. Like, I mean, it's possible. It's possible because they're gonna bring every tactics or whatsoever. But again, Hollywood itself plays really, really dangerous game, and they need serious cleansing. If I'm being honest, it still brings us back to what we said. There are some people in the industry, or there are some people that are working cops, and it's just how it is. It's just sad, and the sad reality of things. But obviously, from what we heard so far, is a dangerous place and a dangerous game, because people like to, especially people who are control freaks, they like to have some leverage over some people so that they can have them do whatever they want to do, allegedly, right? And that's the thing about control, right? And people in power, because they need to stay in control, be in power, and have dominion over their other fellow human beings, which is still bringing back to the past, which we're all fighting for or trying to make sure that it's not repeated. But again, there are some people that want to use it for their greater good or use it for their own good because it benefits them, which is crazy. And again, the entertainment industry needs serious cleansing. But I mean, we've heard it for ourselves. Quite interesting information, which of course he said he's not going to say what he wants to happen to. He said he was not going to say that, but obviously lots of us already know that at back of our mind. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below with this Diddy's trial and everything going on, information that you've heard, and some of them that you know and just don't want to share. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And Hollywood as a whole, with most of the information you've heard, I would love you to share that in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.